Well, this Swiss pilot has reached new heights. We are talking about Raphael Domjan, who has done what was once unthinkable. He has beaten the altitude record for a solar-powered electric plane. His flight took him soaring to over 9,500 meters.
Génial!
To be sure, it wasn't easy, nor was it smooth gliding. The solar plane made the landmark flight from Sion Airport in southwest Switzerland, purely backed by warm air thermals, which caused it to climb beyond record heights that stood unbreakable for 15 years to the power of innovation and technology. And the unbreakable human spirit win again. Recognizing the valor of Operation Synindhur heroes, the Indian government has now announced gallantry awards for all three services who played an important role in the success of Operation Synindhur. The awardees include fighter pilots of the Indian Air Force who took part in missions to hit targets inside Pakistan during Operation Synindhur, and officers and men operating the S-400 and other air defense systems, which foiled all attacks by Pakistan on the Indian soil. This year's honours also mark the first ever conferment of the Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal to Air Force officers. 13 Indian Air Force officers will be awarded the Distinguished Yudh Seva Medal for playing an important role in executing attacks during Operation Synindhur and also defending India's airspace. Two senior Indian Army officers have also been awarded the Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal. India had launched Operation Synindhur on May 7th in direct response to the Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 innocent lives. The Indian Air Force targeted 9 terrorist facilities deep inside Pakistan, downed Pakistan's 5 fighter jets and 1 military aircraft, and also destroyed Pakistan's F-16 jets. According to the RAF chief, the military aircraft was either an electronics intelligence aircraft or an airborne early warning and control aircraft. The awards are a recognition of the instrumental role played by the three services in the operation's success. Pakistan was left clueless as to what had hit them, as India used the Russian-made S-400 air defense system to take down Pakistan's fighter jets from a distance of 300 kilometers, recording world's largest ever surface-to-air kill. Pakistan, humiliated after India's Operation Synindhur in May, continues to scramble for answers. And its answer is a brand new army rocket force. The terror state is now working towards establishing a new military force modeled not on its own ingenuity, but on the Chinese army's rocket force. A desperate bid to match India's firepower. On August 13th, the eve of Pakistan's Independence Day, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif stood in Islamabad commemorating the confrontation with India and the fact that his forces lost. He announced his shiny new missile command and said it will be equipped with modern technology. He said that it will improve Pakistan's conventional war capabilities and a key quote-unquote milestone in the country's military response capability. Well, a Pakistani security official told news agency Reuters that this new force, and I'm quoting him here, meant for India. But the question is, what will this new force consist of? And what will it actually do? No details were provided, just bluster as of now. What reports suggest is that it will be modeled on its all-weather ally, China's rocket force. Yes, the same one that controls China's vast missile arsenal from nuclear to hypersonic. This development cements the already deep Pakistan-China axis. Now, during Operation Synindhur, China had given Pakistan real-time intel, satellite surveillance as well as advanced military hardware. China's J-10 jets were used by Pakistan, and Pakistan was seen as China's testing ground. Of course, none of it actually tipped the scales as far as India was concerned, because India's air defense crushed the incoming threats. Back in May, Pakistan and India engaged in a 4-day conflict involving missiles, drones and artillery fire. The conflict erupted after India launched Operation Synindhur in retaliation against Pakistan-backed terrorists who had killed 26 tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam in April this year. But Pakistan left embarrassed and exposed after India crushed terror infrastructure operating on Pakistan's soil. Pakistan started the provocation by shooting missiles and drones at India. Pakistan also unleashed its Chinese-made PL-15s, but India countered with homegrown BrahMos and Akash systems, as well as the Russian S-400. And what about Pakistan's missiles? Almost all turned into duds, swatted out by the sky by India's layered missile defense. India hit Pakistan hard with strikes deep within the country, to name some: Noor Khan Base, communication hubs, strategic infrastructure that tore through Pakistan's operational capacity. India showed its technological dominance and left Pakistan with nothing but wreckage, as well as a bruised ego. No matter how much chest thumping Pakistan does, there is one question that continues to haunt Islamabad, and by their own admission, and that has been how to defend against India's BrahMos missile. India's Union Home Minister Amit Shah in May had confirmed that BrahMos missiles were used to destroy Pakistani air bases. Pakistan's Prime Minister had also admitted that its air bases had been hit by it. And since then, Islamabad has scrambled to plug the gaps, hiking military spending by 20% in its June budget, planning to buy 40 new Chinese fighter jets, and also modernizing its air defense. The Army Rocket Force Command fits neatly into its push. But there's a catch here. Pakistan's current Chinese-made HQ-9 and HQ-16 air defense systems, again by its own admission, failed to stop India's drones and missiles, and they were totally ineffective against the BrahMos. That failure has Islamabad looking beyond Beijing for answers. And all this also comes at a major cost, with an economy in free fall. 45% of its citizens living below the poverty line, and 16% in extreme poverty. Pakistan has still chosen to pour more into defense while slashing almost everything else in the country. In May, it also scraped together a $1 billion IMF loan and $800 million from the Asian Development Bank. Reports also say that it has even removed development projects worth nearly 1,000 billion Pakistani rupees to feed its military budget. Rattled, playing catch-up, Pakistan is now pinning its hopes on a carbon copy of China's rocket force. The question asked is whether it will shift the balance or just give India another target to practice with. In other news, Israel's far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotrich has approved a controversial settlement plan, one that would carve East Jerusalem away from the occupied West Bank. It's a move that his office also says, will bury the idea of a Palestinian state. A plan to split West Bank is being pushed in Israel, even as Palestinians continue to starve to death in Gaza. The decision announced overnight on Thursday revives the long-frozen E1 scheme, a project that Palestinians and world powers have long warned against it, saying that it would effectively cut off West Bank in two, isolate East Jerusalem, and almost certainly draw global condemnation. It's not yet clear whether Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will back the move, but in the past, he has openly championed it. The E1 project would connect the Male Adumim settlement in the West Bank with Jerusalem. Under the plan, 3,400 homes would be built between Jerusalem and the Male Adumim settlement, creating a physical barrier that critics say would permanently sever Palestinian territorial claims. Peace Now, which tracks settlement activity in the West Bank, said that the Housing Ministry had approved the construction of 3,300 homes. They called the plan deadly for the future of Israel and for any chance of achieving a peaceful two-state solution. Although the group says that there were still steps needed before construction, including the approval of Israel's High Planning Council. But if all went through, infrastructure work could begin within a few months and house building in about a year. The global community views Israeli settlements in the West Bank and its military occupation over the region since 1967 as illegal. Israel froze the E1 scheme in 2012 after fierce opposition from the US, Europe and much of the world, warning that it would blow up any prospect of peace. So the question is, why has the Israeli minister raked up this issue again? For relevance. You see, Smotrich's popularity in Israel has fallen in recent months. Polls show that his party would not win a single seat if elections were held today. In June, Britain, Canada, Australia and New Zealand imposed sanctions on Smotrich, as well as another far-right minister who advocates for settlement expansion. The European powers accused both of them of repeatedly inciting violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. UK and other states have said that Israel must stop expanding settlements in the West Bank. But over the past 22 months, as Israel has waged the war in Gaza, rights groups have said that settler attacks and settlement expansion in the West Bank has risen sharply. What does the Palestinian Authority say on this? Well, in the past, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has called the E1 settlement plan as a red line. He had warned that he will use legitimate and legal means to stop Israel from doing this for the Palestinians. This plan is an existential threat. Critics say that this project would physically erase the map of a future Palestinian state, cutting them off from East Jerusalem, the capital they claim. And we already know that over the past 22 months of Israel's war in Gaza, settler attacks and construction in the West Bank have risen sharply. The question is, will the world be able to watch Israel split West Bank? We'll have to wait and watch.